Dear students, welcome to this class of English. I am Vikramjeet Kaur. I have a very interesting lesson for you today. The name of the lesson is Who Did Patrick's Homework? The learning objectives of today's session are to identify the genre of the story, identify main ideas, characters and sequence, express ideas clearly in correct English, to read fluently and enrich vocabulary, justify the theme, hard work is the key to success. Now I have a question for you. Do you like doing homework? Who helps you in doing your homework? Many of us don't like to do our homework and we keep on postponing it. Doing homework is certainly not a very pleasant task. We all find it very boring. When you were in the primary classes, your mother must have been helping you with your homework. It is certainly not pleasurable for her too. What happens if we don't do our homework? We forget what had been taught in the class and so we miss out on learning. We lose that link between both classes, the previous days and the present days. As a result, we remain ignorant of many topics. Our teachers too are not very happy with us, isn't it? So this boy in the story, whose name is Patrick, never did his homework. His parents and teachers were upset with him. His teachers kept warning him, but he turned a deaf ear to them. He didn't understand anything in the class as he didn't know any subject. He was only interested in playing video games and basketball. Patrick always wished that he could find someone to do his homework, and he was lucky enough to find someone who would help him to do his homework. So we'll see what happens in the story and whom does he find. The author Carol Moore has done a remarkable job in presenting the concept of magical realism, which refers to something that is not magic but a belief through this story. Magical realism combines realistic narrative with fantasy. A fictional elf inspires and motivates Patrick, a young child, to work hard. Patrick was a young boy. He never did his homework. He played hockey, basketball and Nintendo instead of studying. His teachers told him, "Patrick, do your homework or you won't learn anything." But he hated homework. And it's true, sometimes he did feel like an ignoramus. Students, the meaning of ignoramus is somebody who doesn't know anything, who lacks education. You can say an ignorant person. Then, one day, he found his cat playing with a little doll and he grabbed it. To his surprise, it wasn't a doll, but a man of the tiniest size. He was wearing a little wool shirt with old-fashioned breeches and a high, tall hat, much like a witch's. He yelled, "Save me! Don't give me back to the cat! I'll grant you a wish! I promise you that!" Now students, you must be wondering, what does grabbed mean? Grabbed means snatched. He took it. And breeches, here it is spelt as B-R-I-T-C-H-E-S, otherwise the spellings are breeches, B-R-E-E-C-H-E-S, and this is the short trousers that a person wears. The writer here spells it as breeches for fun, to rhyme with the word witches. And a witch is a woman who has magical powers, especially evil powers. Do you know the masculine gender of witch? It is wizard, spelt as W-I-Z-A-R-D. Now Patrick couldn't believe how lucky he was. Here was the answer to all his problems. So he said, "I'll save you only if you do my homework till the end of the semester. That's 35 days. If you do a good job, I could even get A grades. The little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. He kicked his legs and doubled his fists, and he grimaced and scowled and pursed his lips. Oh, I'm cursed, but I'll do it. Students, all these expressions, grimaced, scowled and pursed his lips, and the agitation of his hands shows that he was angry and helpless. Now he was caught in a catch-22 situation. If he didn't agree, he would be given back to the cat. And agreeing to it meant doing Patrick's homework for 35 days. The little man's face is compared to a wrinkled dishcloth. Dishcloth is the cloth which is used to clean utensils. You must have seen your mothers doing that. And true to his word, that little elf began to do Patrick's homework. Except there was one glitch. The elf didn't always know what to do and he needed help. Patrick would have to help in whatever way the elf wanted. The elf squeaked while reading Patrick's homework. Get me a dictionary. No, what's even better? Look up the word and sound it out by each letter. Students, you must be wondering, what does glitch mean? Glitch is an informal word which means a fault in a machine that prevents it from running smoothly. Here it means hitch or problem. So the problem of the elf was that he could not do homework. And when it came to maths, Patrick was again out of luck. What are times tables? The elf shrieked. We elves never need that. And addition and subtraction and division and fractions. What's that? Here, sit down beside me. You simply must guide me. Elves know nothing of human history. To them, it's a mystery. So the little elf became more and more demanding. He told Patrick to go to the library and get more books. And Patrick used to do that. He also asked him to read them out to him. So now, Patrick, who never did his homework, was reading books for the elf. And as a matter of fact, that little elf was a nag. And Patrick was working harder than ever. And was it a drag? He was staying up nights doing what the elf asked him to do. He had never felt so weary. He was going to school with his eyes puffed and bleary. Now students, nag, the word which has been used with the elf, that elf was a nag, is one who troubles someone all the time by complaining or asking them to do something. And drag again is an informal word which means something dull and very uninteresting. Bleary means unable to see anything clearly. So Patrick was not able to sleep and was awake for nights together. So his eyes had become puffy, and with those puffy eyes he could not see clearly. So dear students, you must have noticed that this story has a lot of rhyming words, as a poem does have those rhyming words. So here there are many rhyming words that you must have found. Let's see some of these words. The rhyming words are say, way, better, letter, addition, subtraction, history, mystery, nag, drag, bleary, weary, more, door. Now, can you write some parts of it like a poem so that the rhymes come out at the end of separate lines? Now, you are going to try and do that. Finally, the last day of school arrived and the elf was free to go. As homework, there was no more. So he quietly and slyly slipped out of the back door and ran away. The result was declared And imagine what was the result. Patrick got all A grades. His classmates were amazed. His teachers smiled and were full of praise. And his parents, they wondered what had happened to Patrick. He was now a model kid. Student, slyly means secretively. So the elf left secretively. Now Patrick was a responsible boy. He cleaned his room, did his chores, was cheerful and never rude. It was as if he had developed a whole new attitude. You see, in the end, Patrick still thought that he had made that tiny man to do all his homework. But the secret is that it wasn't the elf, but Patrick had done his homework himself. Patrick's story shows how a person can achieve success by being hardworking and self-dependent. It is revealed at the end that the elf was only a figment of Patrick's imagination. In reality, the transformation was caused by Patrick's own efforts. He got inspired and felt propelled to work hard by an elf. This answers the titular question, who did Patrick's homework? And teaches us the value of self-help. Dear students, always remember that self-help can actually produce wonders. So, you all must promise yourself that you all will work on your own. Now, we'll once again see the new words that we've learnt in the lesson. So, the new words that we learnt are Nintendo. Nintendo is a video game. Ignoramus, an ignorant person who lacks education. Grabbed, snatched, caught, seized. Elf is a supernatural creature of folk tales. Tiniest means smallest. Breeches means short trousers, half pant. Witch is a woman who has magical powers, especially evil. Wrinkled, having lines or folds. We also say that the person's face is wrinkled with age. Hamper, basket with a lid. Grimaced, a twisted expression on a person's face expressing anger. Glitch, a fault in a machine. Nag, one who troubles someone all the time by complaining. A drag, something which is dull and uninspiring. Slyly, secretively. Chores, work that is done every day, basically the routine work. Yelled, shouted. Weary, tired. Blurry, dull. So here, after seeing the words, I have a Pictionary of some new words that we have learned today. This educational game allows to convey the meaning of a term or concept through pictures. Here we can see the first picture. It shows Nintendo, which is a video game. The second picture shows us a person who knows nothing, is an ignoramus. Seeing his expressions, you can make out that the person knows nothing. In the third picture, you can see what grabbing is. A hand is being grabbed. The fourth picture shows you an elf, a small tiny man. The fifth picture shows us the tiniest banana. You can see that tiny banana on the finger. The next picture shows us the breeches. In the seventh picture, we can see a witch. The next picture shows us a wrinkled dishcloth. In the second last picture, you can see a hamper. And the last picture shows the expressions of grimace and scowl. So you can see that the girl is expressing her anger by grimacing and scowling. Now, we'll see the Characters in the story. The story has two main characters, Patrick and the magic fairy, the elf. Patrick is a school-going boy who at first is portrayed as an ignoramus. He gets up late, does not study and never finishes his homework on time. This shows that he is lazy, he is fun-loving and very careless. He's always playing hockey, basketball and Nintendo. He's also very disobedient as he does not listen to his teachers and parents. His teachers keep warning him to study, but he doesn't listen to them. He is also a smart boy and selfish to a certain extent, as he offered to help the elf only if the elf would finish his homework till the end of the semester. However, after his semester was over, he was a different personality. He transformed into a very obedient and hardworking boy who paid attention in class and completed his work on his own without anybody's help. So, this story has various themes also woven into it. And the most important theme that the story has is the value of hard work. The story emphasizes the importance of doing one's homework and the value of hard work. Patrick achieved success only when he started working hard. You all have seen that in the story. And the other theme is consequences of taking shortcuts. The story portrays the consequences of taking shortcuts and the importance of doing things on own. Self-help actually works wonders and there is no shortcut to success. This is what we have learned from the story. The story also raises a moral dilemma of whether it is right to take help from someone else to do our homework or not. Now, after the themes, we will look into the literary devices that are there in the story. The story is replete with various literary devices which are used to enhance the storytelling experience. Some of them are magic realism. This I told you in the beginning of the story itself, that the author Carol Moore has shown magic realism in this story. The story uses the element of fantasy to portray the character of the magic fairy who helps Patrick in doing his homework. Then this story has the element of irony. The story is ironic as Patrick, who initially did not want to do his homework, ends up doing it himself after the fairy's help and he scores all A grades. The story has symbolism too. The magic fairy here is not just a magic fairy, but it can be seen as a symbol of the easy way out and the consequences of taking shortcuts. Now, we'll see what we have learnt from the story. Now, I'll ask you a few questions. Why didn't Patrick do his homework? What did he enjoy doing? My second question is, what did Patrick think his cat was playing with? What was it really? The third question is, how was the elf dressed? And the fourth question is, what did the little man offer to grant Patrick if he saved him? Fifth question, what was Patrick's wish? Now just think of the answers in your mind and I'll discuss the answers with you. So let's see the answers to the questions. The first question was, why didn't Patrick do his homework? What did he enjoy doing? So the answer is, Patrick didn't do his homework as he found it very boring. He enjoyed playing basketball, hockey and Nintendo. And I'm sure you all have been able to answer it. The second question was, what did Patrick think his cat was playing with? What was it really? Now the answer is, Patrick thought that his cat was playing with a little doll. It was in fact a very small sized man, an elf. Now let's see the third question. The third question was, how was the elf dressed? So the elf was wearing a woolen shirt with old-fashioned half pant and a high tall hat. Remember, half pant is known as breeches. Now the fourth question, what did the little man offer to Grant Patrick if he saved him? So the answer is, the little man offered to Grant Patrick a wish if he saved him from the cat. He promised to fulfill one wish of Patrick. Our fifth question was, what was Patrick's wish? And we all know that Patrick hated doing homework. His greatest wish was that the little man should do all his homework till the end of the semester. Now you would have all noticed that the story is written in an informal conversational style. This is how we talk to each other. I would also like to draw your attention to this sentence. Homework? Too boring. He played hockey and basketball and Nintendo instead. If we don't skip words, the sentence would be, he did not like to do homework because he found it very boring. Instead, he played hockey and basketball and Nintendo. Now here you will see that the words, they add length to the sentence, but its focus is lost. Communication becomes quicker when we drop certain words. Though the sentence becomes shorter, but the meaning remains the same. Rather, it becomes more catchy. But remember that this technique is used only in context, only when it's a conversation. We can't apply when context is missing. So, I have a very interesting assignment for you. There are two characters in the story, Patrick and the elf. Now, you have all read the dialogues between Patrick and the elf. What you have to do is, you have to construct dialogues between the elf and Patrick. The conversation has been initiated. All you have to do is to develop a conversation between the two, Patrick and the elf. Imagine you are Patrick and you are convincing the elf to do your homework. This is what you've read in the story, that Patrick was convincing the elf to do his homework. So the first dialogue has been constructed for you. Write more on your own. You're going to write more dialogues on your own. The first dialogue I'm reading for you. Who are you? How did you come here? Elf replies, I was passing by and your cat caught me. So Patrick's dialogue I've left blank. The elf's dialogue is there. Please don't give me back to the cat. I'll grant you a wish. Now you can see there are gaps of two dialogues. So what you have to do is you have to write two dialogues for Patrick and elf. And then there is another assignment for you. You have to answer the following questions. As the story progresses, there is a change in Patrick. How does Patrick develop a new outlook and attitude by the end of the story? The second question is, children generally don't like doing homework. Now what you have to do is you have to write a paragraph on the importance of doing homework to motivate them. Please write these answers in your notebooks. Now you all know that homework helps to reinforce what we are learning. So this repetition helps in better understanding and mastery of the subject, which will definitely result in improved performance. So I'm sure you will all do your homework. With this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you so much.